show you guys how to take out the Ford Transit seat, passenger seat. They're going to be 4 bolts right here. They're T-fitting. I believe they are a T40 right here. So there's going to be 4 bolts, 2 in the rear, and then if you go in the front, I'll be moving up that forward too, but there are going to be 2 over here as well. So quite straightforward. And there are 2 bolts here in the front that you're gonna have to be taking out right here. Also, again with the T40. Under the passenger seat, there's also going to be the airbag sensor that you're going to have to pull off. So you're going to have to take that little screw out. You just have to unscrew that and then it pops right off. You can actually just easily just pull it out. It comes right out. There you go. Pretty easy to take that off. Now you just have to unclip these little clips right here. And then you can pull out the seat. There you go. There's the seat out. I actually didn't disconnect the seatbelt, so I just put it on the rear seat right for right now. But there you guys can see, the seat is right out. Just was 4 little bolts right here. And then you just have to disconnect the airbag sensor. Pretty straightforward. So you can see you've got the seat removed, and then also the mount for the car jack has been removed. They're just 2 real quick bolts that come right out here. Now we're at the point where we can actually look at where we're going to put the holes in for the fresh air intake and the exhaust. The cool little thing here, just for you guys' reference, is these little rubber knobs that can come off. And then you can actually look down into there. If you look from underneath the van, you can actually see where these come out. So that's really awesome, because then you can kind of get a gauge on where we need to drill the holes. I'll try to see if I can show you guys a view from underneath the van. All right, here you can see from underneath the van, it's pretty a tight fit, but you can see right here, that little hole right there is what I just unplugged. Up above, I believe that's one of the holes. I can't see the second one right at this point in time, but you can't see it on the camera, but it's in there as well. So you can get an idea if the fresh air outlet and the exhaust is going to have to squeeze through here. It's going to be a tight fit, but I think it should work. So now that I have this all out right here, I took the template that comes in with it, kind of placed it here in place right here. The next step is actually to cut out this carpet. It's just kind of a rubber carpet, so you just want to cut it out because you don't want to have anything underneath there at this point in time. So, and then you can see kind of sketched out a little bit straight lines here. Cut that out. And then once you've got that, you want to line this template right here, which has a nice little diagram of the whole heater where you want to set the holes. The nice thing is there's a little hole right here, as I showed before. You kind of see underneath, so I'm like a ½ inch away from that hole. That's where the center punch is going to be at. I'm going to double check that obviously once we get there, once I start drilling these holes. So see, let's cut this out. Drilled it. The holes, you also want to file down all the little edges. You definitely want to make sure that you spray paint these and prevent any of the rust to come through. I also need to still figure out where I'm going to put the gas line through it. Not a lot of space here, so I'm going to try to see if I can go through that hole that already existed. To create the 3.5-inch extenders here, I took a pipe itself, spray painted it into gray color so it looks a little bit better, and then cut them into 3.5 inches. And then I got 4 metal screws that are 4 inches long so that I can screw it into the van itself. And then I also put 4 little rubber gaskets on the bottom. I actually used the old mat that I would cut out for that, and just screwed them in so it could protect the metal a little bit. I then mounted the Propex heater in place and measured out where I need to drill a hole into the seat base itself. The next part is to drill a hole into this. Step is to drill out a big hole so that the little airlock can in there. By drilling all multiple tiny little holes, with the saw it really works much better. Now it's actually going through, which is awesome. Finished the install of the Propex heater itself, so I didn't show you guys how to connect the wires in there, but we ended up connecting it right over here. This little light over here, and then the other one goes to the battery itself. So I did 3.5-inch little risers here. It comes out right over here. Now it's running right now, testing it out, nice and warm. And then next kind of quick step is to figure out to reroute these guys. Just make sure that these don't get caught anywhere, which I don't think there's any heat coming from there really, so which is nice. And then yeah, I'm gonna put the seat back on, and then I'll show you guys how I routed the bottom as well. How I routed the cables itself. As you can see, I can brought the propane gas up like this, right over here. What I'm also gonna do is I drilled 3 little holes here, one over here, one over here, over here. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to set back this guy in here because there's a lot of wasted space, and I didn't know where else to put it. So this guy is going to sit right in here, and what I'm going to end up doing is zip tying this guy in. So I'll show you guys how the final product comes together. And then as well, another note is I'm going to put this gasket sealer around the hoses in the bottom here. See if I can get in there at all. But I'll show you guys back in there. So here's the final product. I zip tied in the car jack itself, so I drilled 3 kind of holes into the actual metal seat base here to put the zip ties on it. You can see it's super sturdy. It's not going to go anywhere. It's also leaning up forward here. So here's the final product right here. So see the gas line right here itself coming out, which was pretty awesome. There's a little gasket. I put a rubber gasket around this, but that hole already existed, so I didn't have to drill an extra hole in itself. And then also don't forget to put silicone sealant around the exhaust outlet and the fresh air outlet. So added that in there. Again, put a 3.5-inch risers on here so it comes right out over here. So yep, it's working great. And then I ran the lines for the power right over here, over on that little side right over there. So that's the control. And then I ran my wires for the battery going back right underneath the flooring all the way in the back. So yep. Also wanted to show you guys how I did the exhaust pipe. I actually painted it black, so it's a little bit of so you can't see it as nicely, but here it is underneath the van. What most people don't ever show you, it runs a nice consistent downward slope, and then it's just scooting underneath. It comes right out over here. It's a little bit dark, I'm sorry, but that's where it goes into the van itself. And here you can see the propane gas line. The fresh air line I actually put into here, so it's a little bit hidden in from the thing. So let me see if I can turn on the light so you guys can see. But so I hid it in there so no dirt gets in it or anything like that. And that propane line goes right over here along, and I hung the propane tank right outside over here. And because it's pretty close, the propane tank, to the exhaust, I actually put reflective material on here, so that's up to 2000 Fahrenheit, which should protect it pretty well. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Regulator, pretty easy install once you've got it figured out. A little bit tight, but and then I'll show you guys in here. So I'll have the exhaust and the fresh air, and propane goes in. So I had to cross them because that was the only way I could keep the exhaust away from our doors. So on product, I even put this back on here. Put a little bit of a reflectix just in case. I don't think you really need it, but put it there. I've got the jack in there, and then I also put a tow rope. Dropper cables in here. Should be all okay. Raised this heater by 3 inches. So I almost think you could actually go like 2.5 inches to give a little bit more clearance here. It rubs maybe a tiny bit, but it's not too bad. I mean, it just glides along here. Here, I'll show you guys here. One second. Move this. But so there you go. Fully installed heater.